Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Baxter Boxing. Now, man, big news, man. My boy Kieth Thurman, man. He's saying that he wants to look past Udanis Ugas, the guy with the WBA title, and he says, you know what? I'm not interested in him. I'm interested in current WBC, current IBF, current WBA champion of the world, unified champion, my boy JERMELL Lions Only Charlo at 154. Now this is an extremely big deal, man. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it. There's some mixed reactions. Some people think that why not force Errol Spence to fight you for undisputed by getting the WBA title at welterweight division. But if you hear anything from my boy Errol Spence Jr., he's talking about moving up in weight if Kieth Thurman gets that WBA title, right? He says it doesn't matter what title he gets. I'm moving past him. I'll go to a higher weight class and avoid the guy because he didn't fight me when he had all the titles. So what's the best thing to do? Well, what's bigger than one, guys? What's bigger than one? Well, I'll tell you, 3 is bigger than 1. And my boy Kieth Thurman wants all 3 titles that JERMELL CHARLO holds at 154 to basically solidify himself as that guy again. Back when, Kieth Thurman was beating Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, he was walking through all these fighters, right? And he was on the cusp of greatness. He basically is doing what Errol Spence is trying to do. He already accomplished all of it. The only thing he didn't do is get past my boy Manny Pacquiao. Will he get past him? We just don't know that yet. We don't know if Kieth Thurman will get past Manny Pacquiao. But understand, Kieth Thurman was the man at welterweight, and it was the only thing that set him back was that Pacquiao lost. And he could very well, Errol Spence can very well end up like Kieth Thurman if he doesn't get past Manny Pacquiao. He just lose everything. He'll lose all of his titles. Now that being said, on paper, Kieth Thurman only has the WBA title. But understand, when he was beating everyone, the Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, he had the WBC title and the WBA title at one point. He had 2 of the 4 titles at one point, So that being said, Kieth Thurman was a multi-division world champion, and he lost it due to inactivity, not because, he actually lost it. But that being said, man, I think, let's be honest, Udanis Ugas is a good fighter, but is he better than JERMELL CHARLO? No, he's not. He's not better than JERMELL CHARLO. And everyone knows that. If he fought him today, no one will pick Udanis Ugas to fight JERMELL CHARLO. In fact, most people call that a cherry pick. That being said, if Errol Spence Jr. ever wants to go up in weight, he only has 2 or 3 fights left to really fight, right? If he happens to beat Manny Pacquiao, he'll have, he still have 2 of the 4 sanctioning by titles, and he only has to beat Udanis Ugas and Terrence Crawford, which is only 2 fights away, to get all 4 titles. And what would he have to do next? Go up in weight. And if Kieth Thurman happens to get past JERMELL CHARLO, he'll have all the titles at that point. By the time if let's just hypothetically say Kieth Thurman beats JERMELL CHARLO, by the time Errol Spence Jr. has those 2 or 3 fights at welterweight, right, to get all undisputed, there's no doubt in my mind that Kieth Thurman will fight Castano at that point and will most likely be undisputed as well. So, Kieth Thurman, he's always been a big welterweight. He's always been a big dude, and he's always been seemingly too big for the welterweight division. The guy always has weight problems. He's always, he never missed weight or anything like that. But understand, the guy, his weight cut is extreme. The guy walks around, 170, easy. So that being said, Kieth Thurman, that's a winnable fight for him. The JERMELL CHARLO fight, the Castano, the draw with JERMELL CHARLO and Castano was a blessing for JERMELL CHARLO. Now he has a lot of these welterweight fights that are feasible fights that make sense. JERMELL CHARLO was walking through so many of these elite level fighters. The Tony Harrisons, right? I can go on and on talking about all the top guys he fought, right? There's Lonnie Lauras. I can keep going on and on about the top guys JERMELL fought, but he fought the who's who in the 154 division. And this fight with Castano shows that maybe he might not handle pressure too well. Danny Garcia he's not a pressure fighter, but he's a really good counter puncher. He can come forward and throw combinations. Will Danny be better at 154? Will Kieth Thurman be better at 154? I mean, time will tell. One thing we do know is these fighters are elite level fighters, and they've been they're multi-division world champions. Kieth the one-time Thurman used to fight 154 at one point. I believe he won an international title at one point, right? So that being said, Kieth one-time Thurman and JERMELL CHARLO is a big deal. Plus, it's a good story. Understand that JERMELL CHARLO is a stablemate with Errol the Truth Spence. So it would hit home for Errol Spence Jr. for his stablemate to lose to arch nemesis Kieth one-time Thurman. And this is a big deal, man. This will get Kieth Thurman back in the groove of things. And they say that the JERMELL CHARLO versus Castano fight, the ratings for that fight was like the biggest in years. So the JERMELL CHARLO is a big name, man. Big name. I keep telling it, and I'll say it again. JERMELL having a twin, Jamal, it elevates their name, because when the casual fan sees either one of these people fight, it's basically like you're having one fighter fight 4 or 5 times a year. If they both fight 3 times a year, it's like one fighter fighting 6 times a year, because they look the same to the average casual fan. So they're always active, they're always in the public spotlight, and their personalities are dynamic. So a casual fan might watch JERMELL CHARLO be chill, and the next thing you know, then he watches JERMELL and he's all hype. So they don't know what they're gonna get, with the Charlo brothers, because the casual fan doesn't know the difference. Even hardcore fans get it mixed up all the time. Crazy stuff, all the time. So we're gonna see, man. I'm actually a big proponent. I want Kieth one-time Thurman to go 154, because he basically did everything at welterweight. He only has one big fight at welterweight, and people only want to see him versus Errol Spence. At 154, he has much more wide options of top fighters to fight. And these are competitive. These are fights that Kieth Thurman can easily lose. At 147, Kieth Thurman is still that guy. But at 154, that's untested waters. That's something that I want to see, because Kieth Thurman, how will you deal with these bigger, stronger, more durable fighters at 154? More aggressive fighters. Most likely taller than him. Longer reach. A lot more uncertainty at 154 than it is at 147. But yeah, man, I'm really excited to see Kieth one-time Thurman go up in weight if he wants to. That'd be a big deal. And I'm actually more excited for Kieth Thurman to go up in weight than stay at 147. I already seen Kieth Thurman do everything at 147, and I want to see him go into bigger and better things at 154. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Do you guys think he should stay at 147 and get that title for Udanis Ugas for the WBA title, or you think he should go 154 and get all 3 of those straps from JERMELL CHARLO? Let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geobasket Empire. Peace.